what's nice about the Kolbe, a couple basic things. The key element is that Kolbe identifies instinct. Everything else, like a disc profile, Myers-Briggs, all those things focus on more affective aspect of the brain. There's three parts to the mind. There's cognitive, so like skills, knowledge based, affective, feeling based things primarily, and then the cognitive, which is instinct based. And because instinct is natural, your affective things can shift and change over time as personalities develop and whatever. Skills and IQ can change over time as you bring on more knowledge base. So those things do have more movement. Kolbe doesn't have a lot of movement because you can do everything, but it's how are you naturally meant to do? Okay. A couple things that it identifies right here out of the gate is that you're really good at juggling things and changing priorities right away. Okay. You don't mess around with what's always been done, but temper your trial and error approach by strategizing. So you lead with quick start, this is where you initiate things. This is the innovation space. So people who are in this scale up here on the 1 to 3 area, it doesn't mean that they don't have quick start ability. What it means is that their quick start ability is different, and it's focused on counteracting, protect, preserve, keep similar, keep the same, don't rock the boat too much. On the upper spectrum, because that's the highest bar, that's where you lead, and with innovation and brainstorming and initiating and that type of activity. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Okay. So this is where you'll start everything naturally if left to your own devices without any other influence. You would then pivot to this area, which is called Fact Finder. Fact Finder isn't the ability to know a bunch of facts. It's about research, but it's also, it's not just how you gather information, it's also how you relate information. So it meets both of those endeavors. So as you move up the scale, you begin to want more specifics, and you'll also probably speak in and relate to people in higher specifics. On the lower side here, on the 1 to 3 range, you counteract that ability. So 1 to 3 is counteract, 7 to 10 is initiate. Got it? Everything in the middle is the bridge between people who you're very close. Like if this fact finder was a 7, you would be all initiate and all counteract in 4 bars, which means you are will do, won't do person. People who have more in the mid range, they're the bridge between will do's and won't do's. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. So this whole little button here is at the top is really all about you. Mine says something very different than yours does. And if I scroll down here, of course, it breaks through some key areas. So Fact Finder, your way is to explain, and you can kind of see that cutoff point right there. Counteract and initiate action as the 2 layers. So everything is kind of in this, this is like where the separations live in the example. Now, the key thing about this is that it's on a continuum. So a continuum means that you can do all things on that continuum. You're not limited to doing just this. This is just the natural way that you would do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So because you lead with quick start, you'll likely get more energy doing certain things, and you'll have more energy units that you can use in a given day in this zone. If you have to build extensive systems or do things in a step-by-step format, you will burn out energy very, very quickly. And that is 100% what's happening in this zone right here. And I know that personally because I have a 3 follow through also. Anytime I have to fill in a lot of forms, I want to rebel against doing it. And when you have to, you do your marriage counseling and that, this practice that you have to do charting notes, and you do all the detail stuff after a meeting to remember everything and have this follow up and recall what happened in the last meeting. How much do you enjoy that part?
Yeah, no, I don't I hate it. Yeah.
Right. But you have no choice because you have a responsibility of doing it.
Yeah.
And there's certain aspects you can offload of that to another person, but some of it you just can't. And the parts that you aren't able to probably are the stick in your craw around the activity of the work that you do. Okay. And I understand that because I feel that.
Yeah, you're the 3 too.
Very much.
And then
so.
the implementer, Achilles heel. Those 2 things are my Achilles heel, right? It's why I'm where I'm at in my business with these 2 things. These 2,
Not
3.
really. They're actually, so each number here is part of your superpower.
Okay.
Okay. I used to think likewise that this low follow through, the fact that I couldn't be linear, that I couldn't go down the staccato step by step list, that I'd want to break the list, that I want to skip to step 7 and then to step 11 and bypass everything else because I didn't think they were necessary, that there was something wrong with me. This is where tension happens around people in the world, and often, and I think in relationships with business partners and probably in spousal households. One spouse often, not always, but often wants to have things in the right place. They want to do things in an order. They want to run by a schedule. They want to remove chaos. One person creates chaos and they want to buck the trend and they want to skip the steps and not have everything laid
Mm-hmm.
out in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so because they're naturally going about doing life a different way, it can build up a culmination of tensions.
Yep.
Okay. So this is where I thought our conversation would have some fun. This implementer zone is physical space and tangible things. So I'm in here in a 6. My wife is a 4. My wife is very crafty. She needs to use things. She wants to do stuff on a regular basis. She wants to do woodwork and physical things. I love tools. I have a lot of tools. At least 2 times a year, I go through a withdrawal period where I haven't used physical tools and elements and I have to build something or renovate something or do something. I can't stop it. I will literally not be able to function and do other things I'm supposed to be doing until it's completed. It's a need. I have to do it. I cannot stop. And what happens is it always happens in an inopportune time when I'm really busy with all the other things I need to do. So, for some people it's cooking, or they do some other type of element to get that energy out.
Yeah.
For you probably own a multi-tool screwdriver somewhere, but you might not know where it is, right? And then you would call the plumber, you would call somebody. The person who moves to this stage, yeah, they might call someone, but they might try it themselves first, or they might do a lot of it and they just know the areas they're not going to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in this zone, they need to have the highest quality materials. They're like surgeons. There are people who are very big into like design and tactile
Interesting.
things. Like they're very usually detailed, like machinists.
Hmm.
They work with tools and physical elements. They have to be in the physical realm. They can't stop themselves. And if they're working in an area where they're not in the physical realm, they will burn out very fast.
Interesting.
Okay. So, but this allows for you to picture and envision things very easily and probably explain things in word pictures.
Which is what my methodology is, right? I've created a brand new system that has pictures and it's fascinating. I mean, it seems like it describes what I've done perfectly. And I don't like implementing, and I'm not a good follow through person. That's why I think that Justin said that it's like the visionary, right? Is this visionary? Does this show like in the leaning of visionary?
So, my personal opinion of the way Justin visualizes that is it's just my perception of the people that I meet that Justin connects me with and that are like surrounded by the network and stuff. There's a lot of people who have these core elements. They lead or are very high in quick start in the Kolbe Index. They are generally low or lower in follow through, and they are usually low in implementer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the combination of these two things means you won't like to build or do physical things and physical elements. And you won't want to build a system that is so rigid that it can't be changed or modified. And you like probably building systems because you know they're necessary, but you know that you can start and initiate a system, but you have to detach yourself from maintaining it. So knowing this is a superpower and understanding how it's beneficial. Because here's the thing, people build redundant systems and they get too big and bloated and bureaucratic. You're going to be built to show up, want to break components of that system apart, come up with new and fresh ideas, reduce and remove redundancies to make it efficient again, and you will do it and communicate it in a way that's specific by
Interesting.
strategizing. And you will explain it really well so that other people will understand. But so some of these things are questions that you might get, or things that, this is like a response to common questions that you might receive.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even realize it was a whole thing. Like I only saw the front page. That's really funny.
But because I always like call out page numbers, and unless you have the PDF, you don't have the page
Okay.
numbers. Okay. I'll scroll down and hit some of the high bullets. Like These are nice little kind of adjectives and describers around what you might do in each one of these things. So, like, create shortcuts, thrive on interruptions, switch tasks frequently, cut through bureaucracy, loosen up rigid processes, keep everything accessible. Like, you probably have a desk of things like around you, things look pretty good and put away, but like where your actual workspace is, you probably have some clutter and a little bit of chaos around you because you need things readily available.
That's correct.
Yeah, me too. I've got total chaos around me. Everything above this line looks great, but everything below here is complete chaos. Okay. And so this creating a sense of urgency plus thriving on interruptions and switching tasks frequently, this is part of where your superpower comes into play. And people start to depend on you because they know in crisis and chaos, they can rely on you.
Mm.
And it's not necessarily that you have skill sets and knowledge base in specific areas that make that more functional for the areas of your expertise, but you're naturally gifted at doing it because of these things.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. So
get
brainstorm, generate slogans, defy the odds, ad lib, etc.
Yeah.
Improvise. These are all in this innovate kind of space.
That's all me.
So that's where the visionary part often people align with from a Kolbe realm, like Justin was thinking about, is because these bullet points really resonate with that type of thing. Okay.
Yep.
You might be more likely to sketch ideas, concoct things out of thin air, portray symbolism, okay, envision circumstance, and conceptualize solutions.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
But
amazing.
you need someone else to build it.
Yes, exactly.
So you need to verbalize it, explain it in a word picture, have someone else create it, or have AI help you create a version 1, and then take that version 1 to a person who can fine tune.
Yep.
Those are like shortcuts, mental shortcuts for you.
Yeah.
Okay. The do's are great, but the don'ts to me are the most important. What are the things you should not be doing? Okay. Don't oversimplify. Whereas for me, I need to oversimplify. I should oversimplify. Reread. Don't reread all the fine print. You trust yourself to know what's there and have it available, but don't waste time and effort rereading stuff like that. Okay.
Yep.
And get immersed in complexity. So that's really good. Checking back. My friend Vern's really good at this. He does the same thing that I do in sales or whatever. And he'll be with clients like, hey, I just want to check in with you. How are you doing with all this and what we just covered? That kind of check back component. This here on the do's and don'ts, these are really, really helpful. So don't stick with step-by-step procedures and repeat things. Be overly scheduled and succumb to rigid routines.
Yeah.
And I know for me, what I find happens, if I have a regular recurring meeting in my calendar, after about 2 to 3 months, I stop showing up to the meeting. And I have to retool the whole calendar with my assistant and with other people because I deprioritize that meeting because it becomes too consistent.
Interesting. I love that.
So,
and I love to actively pursue multiple projects. You know, some people say don't do that, you know, pick one, but I really like that it says I can.
You're meant to multitask, but it's the way that you do it that matters. And you need to put yourself in a position where you can expect that not everything is going to be completed and get crystal clear on the priorities, which you're going to be better at because of your 6 fact finder on what must be completed. And then start really recognizing who can complete this other than me. I can get it to step 3. Who can take it to step 10? And then a great question I would encourage you to have rolling around would be, what does version 1 look like? So again, don't conform, don't second guess, don't stick to a script. Okay. Use bullet points, things like that. Race the clock.
Yes.
This is like you will activate your best everything by doing this.
And race the clock means doing things at the last minute?
It does mean doing things at the last minute, but it also means setting a clock or having like a meeting, a place to go. And because you have a place to be, in that last 15 to 10 minutes before you leave is when everything of all the energy happens.
That's what somebody just told me yesterday, and I was really irritated that that's true about me. But you're saying that's not bad. You're saying that's part of my... Okay, got it. That's really cool.
It might frustrate you, and it'll probably frustrate others around you. And if you think about relationships between spouses, this happens a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what my husband is. I think he has a lot of stuff like me. You know what's interesting too, and again, these are no longer conversations, but at my house, I become the control freak. I want us to clean at a certain time. And like, he's like, "Oh, don't give me time, don't give me structure, don't give me schedule." So it's interesting that you see that there's some people in certain areas might be a different number.
There might be certain reasons why you want structure in given areas so that you can have less structure in other areas.
It's true.
Right? So you need a level of balance. So you want to control key environments where it's easier to have consistency, to create space for the ones where you don't want consistency to exist.
I love that. That's a well said. Okay. I like that a lot. I think I'm going to tell my husband that.
Well, we'll have a recording of this, so it'll be
This
great.
is why I'm so controlling, honey.
Okay. So yeah, this one I think is pretty self-explanatory, but this is what I really wanted to get into. So where the pyramid of energy is, you only have so many units of energy, ergs
Okay.
of energy in a given period of time, an hour, a week, a month, a year. Where are you spending that energy? If you spend a lot of your energy in this follow through realm, or in like the physically doing things, building, renovating structures, constructing, building PowerPoints, things of that nature, these things are going to drain you and you will need to recharge. And recharge will look differently for everybody. But for you, actually getting in environments of people and brainstorming will probably recharge you.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
If you spend too much time doing this and you're spending all of your time coming up with solutions for other people and you're doing that 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, now you need to recharge by actually doing some of these other things. Maybe doing some light research, doing some puzzles. Maybe you might put a little bit of a structure together as recharge time if you're overdoing this.
That's right. That's usually when I'll clean. Just do something really simple like emptying the dishwasher, just like feels like it changes my brain.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting. If I use the word God, does it trigger you? Okay, so I have a friend of mine many years ago who said, your job, Isabelle, is to go to the top of the mountain, talk to God, come down, share with people what you heard, and then that's it. And it's like, that's the pyramid.
Yeah, I agree. And so this is like, everyone has an equal amount of energy, but how are you using it? Allocating time. So this is how you'll start the process for virtually everything when you're free to use these strengths and you're not constrained by something that has been placing constraints on you. Whether that's another person, a project, a circumstance, whatever that constraint might be. Okay. For me, my last thing is like, I'll take shortcuts. The last thing I'll do is I'll look for alternative routes. Okay. I'll like do the brainstorming and then I will look to find the materials and things necessary to build and construct it. Then I will simplify and I will put it into bullet points and then I'll look for alternative ways of doing it. So it's different.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
There's lots of other pieces, we can expand on here. There's an audio that you can get on Audible for this.
Okay, great.
Highly advantageous, great for your husband to listen to.
Okay.
And Kathy Kolbe was interviewed by 3 people, and one of them has the same MO as you, and then there's like a person that doesn't, that's different. So they're asking, how to deal with someone like you.
Okay, great.
Which is good.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay.
Right?
This is incredible. I had no clue.
You need to describe what's in your mind rather than try to make it for yourself. And a good way to start your day is to check and adjust priorities. A good way for me to start my day is to create a not doing list, which is very different. Okay. You'll procrastinate if you have to fill in a lot of forms. When you need to be persuasive, just wing it.
Yeah.
And then there's more, obviously.
Okay.
There's lots of stuff in here, but
This
it
is
gives you
amazing.
some of the core elements.
Okay, I will check all that out. And you know what? Maybe we'll trust you were supposed to look at this before our interview.
You just never know. You
Exactly.
never know. So
Thank you so much. It says I would have never understood half of this. So, and I didn't even know to look. Isn't that funny? I thought I spent $55 for a number. I didn't realize there'd be all this stuff behind it. I was like, I hope Justin or Richard can explain what the heck this is.
no, and there's even there's videos. So when you click that link, there's videos that you can play, and it goes through sections. And Kathy Kolbe explains it to even more detail.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm just giving you some more perspective on it because I have having some unique. We share 2 of the same numbers. So
Okay.
there you go. Cool.
And thank you. Yeah, there's much more, but I will ask questions and go looking more in deeply.
Sounds good.